Hello and welcome to this PAC CXP Group webinar where we'll be discussing our predictions for the IT infrastructure and cloud computing market in 2018. I'm Sarah Wilson and I'll be moderating today's webinar. I'm joined by Matthew Pujol and Stephen Kaiser, who will be your host for today. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat function and we'll spend some time at the end of the webinar answering as many of your questions as possible. So without further ado, I'll pass you to Matthew to start the webinar.
Hello everybody, so it's Mathieu Pujol. I'm currently running everything that is about infrastructure and cloud for the CXP Group. So I will walk you through what our prediction, where we are now, where we start, what are the investment and the big change, in fact, due to the digital transformation. So our agenda, as we see, I will run this first part, our prediction, infrastructure and cloud for the year that is coming. And then my colleague Stefan will show you how we can help you to assess those challenges. So where we are, what is the current status of infrastructure and cloud computing at our clients. So first, let's see what the clients are thinking about it. You see, this is our CxO survey. For people who are familiar with this, we have 3,000 IT and business users that we survey each year. It's a control panel and so on. And we ask them a bunch of questions that doesn't move a lot, so we can really compare them from year to year. And what is quite important in the results you see on your screen is that there is a lot of infrastructure-related topics that are on the top of the IT manager agenda today. So, you know, IT and cybersecurity, it's very infrastructure-based. Cloud computing that I put there because it's also an important part. You see the second most important. Internet of Things, also there is a lot of infrastructure inside. So does stuff as analytic, and then even you can think about digital workplace being quite full of infrastructure. So a lot of demand are strong in infrastructure at your clients. So that's a first one that is very important that we are seeing since 2016. That have been also big in 2017, and we are quite sure that it will continue for some year to come. So if what we have seen just this year, let's say that for us, cloud is getting mature. A lot of companies go to cloud for cost reasons. Some of those reasons were, after all, reality, but some of them, the company have realized it was still not totally the case. But now what is very important is that they are going to the cloud for a business-related issue. In fact, they are going to the cloud as a foundation for their digital strategy. So what we're seeing from our survey is that cloud is strategic for nearly all the company we could have speak to, meaning the big Fortune 500, but also the SMBs. And all of this means that there is huge infrastructure change that are taking place in those companies. What we have seen for the last 10 years, especially in Europe, was a lot of private cloud. So people kind of like the cloud or have been forced to do the cloud, but they want to have some control about it. So they have done it inside. Now in Europe, they're opening more and more to the public cloud, and we see this in our market data. But in the US, what we've seen since this year, 2017, is that private cloud is on the rise again. So let's say that we are still a bit early to say it's a new trend, but now we are seeing that in the US, and US is often a front runner about IT trends, we are seeing that private cloud is fashionable again. So that's a very interesting stuff we have seen this year. An important point, and that go a little bit against what we have seen a lot in the marketing of cloud computing, is that there is a lot of complexity, integration, and management issue with the cloud. Cloud is maybe easy to sell, easy to present, but it's IT is complicated. And especially since we have done all the easy stuff, like the front offices, like the CRMs and stuff like this. Now we are doing much more back office stuff, much more real-time stuff, much more stuff that are really deep in the production of the companies. And this is difficult. This is difficult to cloudify. Cloud also is very heterogeneous. You have several platforms. You have several type of clouds. You have several providers. Each one has its specific ways to make cloud. And also, this huge amount of legacy is still there, and we will have to work for it. Remember when I started the IT, normally my professor told me that mainframe will be dead in the decade I started IT. I'm 45. Mainframe is still there, so legacy is still piling up, and we have to work with it. So that's why it's also complex, and integration and management of those complexity is very important. So those issues, they all reflect in the infrastructure, because the infrastructure, they have to support, they have to deal with this complexity. And also there is a new stuff with the cloud, is that the cloud implies very often a sort of vertical integration. So meaning that your workload have to be managed, controlled, integrated from the network to the business. So with all the underlying layers like storage, system, and so on. And this, frankly, is also complicated, complex, and hard to manage. So this part is also very important. And this explains why there is less and less IT silo. Before, the people in the database, they were in their kingdom, we cannot approach them and so on. Now they are all cloud people. It was the same with storage. Now storage is becoming cloud people. So everything is changing, everything is becoming pervasive, and is aligning around cloud infrastructure. The other very important point is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity concerns are raising very, very high, and they are changing a lot of stuff. Even in the procurement, there is a lot of law, GDPR, NIS in Europe. Even I was speaking with one of the major companies in Morocco. In Morocco, they are starting to emulate those European laws for Morocco. So a lot of countries across the world are very concerned about cybersecurity. So driver and obstacle. As I prefer to finish by the good stuff, I will finish by the drivers. So obstacle, security. I say security is often an obstacle for cloud computing. We are thinking at CXP that is really not that even cloud computing is better for cybersecurity, but in the mind of a lot of people, as you open a system, you have security problems. So it's an obstacle. Also, budgets are not extensible. That's since the IT exists, budgets are not extensible. And human resources, that's a very key point in nearly all the countries. There is human resources issues. The drivers, let's say, you have to do cloud computing. Digital transformation is on you. You have to do cloud computing, and this is true for your clients, but is it true also for you as an IT provider? It's mandatory. You cannot escape it. You have to do it. So better do it right and do it well. Also, cloud it just putting a lot of new technology. Like, for example, if you take the IoT space, that's a new application of cloud computing, but this IoT need new technology, such as, for example, Dockers or Kubernetes. And those new technology keep on appearing on the market, and you have to deal with this. So this is not easy, but that's a very strong driver, because each time you can do more, you can go further with your client on this. So I will explain a bit why this cloud computing is a cornerstone of the digital, because we're getting global, we're getting innovation focused economy. We need to have systems that are open and mobile. Time is getting very short, so that's a revolution. Revolution is that you turn around. That's a real turnaround that we have. And as a French guy, I know to speak about revolutions. So it's a revolution. We are all in it, and revolution. There is a lot of opportunity out of a revolution. It's not a bad stuff. It's very often a good stuff. So I think that for the IT, it's a very good stuff. This digital revolution. What we are seeing for the infrastructure there, scalability, flexibility. You have to deploy your business model across the world. You have to integrate those models. You have to automate. That's the second point. Automation is very important. Cloud computing is about automation. It's the next level of the IT. We pass from craftsmanship to a real industrial-based system. Automated, robotized IT system. We have to have open system. We have to be able, nearly on the fly, to integrate the IT system of partners, but we have to have some security out of it. We have to always optimize the systems. In the beginning of the IT, we have to optimize the system. And an important point, full stack management. That's very important, and that's also explained a lot of movement we have seen in the IT. This full stack management, meaning that you have to be good in business, application, system, storage, network, whatever. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to have expertise in all of this if you want to be good in those infrastructure for the digital, because the workload depends on all of this. So the next gen CIO have to master all those layers, and he will ask this from his provider. So this could explain a lot of move from the IT service company who are developing, who are buying infrastructure capacities. Why we do this? Here I present you just a few use cases there: healthcare, in manufacturing 4.0, e-business, intelligent transportation, intelligent energy grids, and so on. There is a lot of way to do business with this. As you have seen, we speak about legacy, we speak about different type of cloud. Cloud is just hybrid and will be hybrid. That's explain also the complexity of this. So at the beginning, we have those existing SI. We have the digital SI. There is a very good example about this in France. It's a national railroad called SNCF. It's a digital SNCF called Voyage SNCF. And what they have done, because they need it, they have integrated the digital information system inside the existing SI, because they were needing those best practices. And this is explaining also why our system are getting hybrid, because we have to mix the old and the new, because the old is not that bad, still have a good stuff, but he has to go at the speed of the new digital systems. So there, what we go, if you go on the upper layer, we will have this legacy SI embedded in those data, user experience and API driven system that are the new system we are pushing those days. And all of this is based on the agile infrastructure that is able to make all of this work together, to make the process pass from this to the other. And how does it translate in the cloud? As I say in the beginning, we get the private, then we go to the public that was much more standardized, where we get more on operating expenses. Then we develop, and that's especially the case in Europe and in APAC. We develop this managed private cloud, so a mix between outsourcing and cloud computing. But what happened is that we will be on hybrid cloud. So meaning we'll manage a lot of different type of cloud, private, public, managed private, different, managed private, different public, different private with some legacy and so on. So hybrid is there to stay. And why all of this is important? Because that's a key to the digital value chain, and you have to master this digital value chain for your client. At the beginning, we started with data center efficiency, IT operation efficiency. So now we are getting more and more on those hybrid way to manage. We have to manage this hybridity, which is not easy. And more we will go to co-innovation and development with your client. Some of you know already, some of you have experienced this with the client, have developed products with your client. Clients are developing more and more products between themselves, are developing more and more projects with the research and education, are developing more and more products. So co-innovation and development is very important and necessitate a good infrastructure. So what we are thinking, I will not say you have to do because we don't give order there, but what we think are very important for companies such as you to address, to be able to be on the good side of the tenders for 2018. First, the basics. The basic for us is automation, integration, optimization. All of this is the summit of a triangle. All of this is has to be made at the same time, has to be proposed at the same time with the client. Their stuff, you have to have them. If not, you will be out of the market. So what does it mean? It means to have the right platform to be able to integrate, to have the best practice, let's say, for your clients, and be able to do more with less. So that's the automatization, and that's also the optimization. Why cloud giants, hyperscaler are so good? Because they master very well those parts. They can integrate very quickly. They are the king of automation and optimization. So you have to emulate this at your client, and you have to help your client go there. Some of them, they are already there. So if they are already there, maybe they are ready to get to the what we call the next level. The next level, once you have the basics, you have to have to govern your system. Governance is very important. It's quite linked with cyber security, quite linked with also the fact that your digital value chain is more and more important. For some company, I was speaking about those French railroads. Now for SNCF, 75% of their revenue come from their digital value chain, which is enormous. So they have to govern this digital value chain. Is critical for them because that's where their revenue come from. So govern this is very important. And as we say, it's not that easy. And here, there is a lot of stuff you can do to help your client because they have systems that are so different and heterogeneous that they need you to take their hand and go hand to hand towards a cloud with them. Then there is the resilience. Why is the resilience very important? Because it also gets security inside, but as those systems are very important for the way the digital value chain function, they are critical for your client. Imagine just have a little bit imagination, but it's even the reality. If you take a company like Volkswagen, their cars are more and more IT cars. In fact, the CTO of Volkswagen told me that their car is now an iPhone with wheels. So you have to be resilient, because there is not just an iPhone crash. If there is an IT crash inside a connected car, it could lead to a real physical crash. So resilience is very important. And then there is the intelligence part. The intelligence part is related to the automation, is related to the optimization. It's also the way you will do more and you will be better with your IT. That's also the way our cars, for example, in the IoT space, will be able to react to the environment. So intelligence will be everywhere. So I put intelligence and not AI, because I think we oversell this term, and we are still on the intelligence. We're still managing data. So that's also what now you can make the difference on your tenders, is those three topics. And to finish, where is the demand? Where will be the demand with your client next? Security. I think that security in infrastructure equals quality. That's very important. And in fact, in some of your clients, that's already the case. For example, IT security at BMW is with the quality guys. So security is very important. And if you are, for example, a managed service provider, it's very important to have this part. Operational technology. So we have been speaking about the IT technology. What is operational technology? But that's the SCADA, that's the ICS system, and so on. Those systems are getting more and more cloudified. And there, it's a very good opportunity for people who master the IT technology to go inside to go at the shop floor level, as we say. And there, you have a lot of ways to make good business. I will take an example. For example, in the defense, a few years ago, big US contractors, they lost the Aegis defense system for the US Navy. They lost it to IBM. And that was really, really a very strange stuff for them to lose to an IT company that is not a defense contractor. And this we're seeing more and more across the world. The IT guys, they have a lot of good ideas. They master the good technology, and those technology are getting pervasive even in the operational technology. So that's a very important stuff. DevOps, bridging the divide between application and infrastructure. That's key to most of the company. If I retake the example of Volkswagen, that's the strategy of Volkswagen those days. That's what Volkswagen want to do. That's also, if you take a bank like Citi or like Société Générale, that's what they want to do. That's why they are doing cloud. They are doing cloud to do DevOps. So DevOps is very, very important. When I speak about locking, it's related to the value chain. There is a lot of question your client will ask about the locking. Does they have to have the platform with them? Does they have to be a platform provider? We have seen this with a company like, for example, General Electric in the US or Bosch in Germany. They are platform providers, they are cloud provider. So this part is quite important. You can help your clients, they can be competitors. So that's something also to say. And last but not least, the human factor. That's a very important point, and that's something that quite often is blocking many of your clients for getting on the right track for infrastructure and cloud. So I'm done now. I will pass the hand to my colleague Stefan. We will explain you how can we help you to do this at your client. Thank you, Stefan. The floor is for you.
Thank you, Mathieu. So also a warm welcome from my side. I'm Stefan Kaiser, based in our Munich office, and I'm running our global business with all of you as vendors and IT services companies. And we can see, and I can confirm the trend of Mathieu, that we have a lot of discussions with all of you about what are the next stages regarding cloud computing. It's a dedicated practice. We invest a lot of money into our own expertise to guide you through the next waves and the next trends and what's next for you. So in the next couple of minutes, 15 minutes roughly, I'd like to guide you through what we see as value we can provide for you as a vendor based on our insights, based on our portfolio. And let me start with these 3 pillars to illustrate where we try to focus in our approach and how we work with you in the vendor community. So the first pillar on the left side is more or less describing everything around how we can help you to grow your market understanding within yourself and your company. So there is a dedicated program that is up and running and where we continuously invest into all the aspects of cloud and infrastructure computing to give you access to that, to educate your sales force on all the interesting topics. That's one pillar. The second is more related to bespoke project business, you can say. So we have some strategic and also operational services where we think we can bring some value to the table when it comes to your very specific growth challenges and how we can help you as an advisor to solve them and to help you growing your own business. And last not least, and thirdly, let's say it's the influencing part to the market where we can also help you to spread the word or to work together on making the market and using the brand and the influence we have on the market to position yourself as a vendor community, company. So to give you a bit more of details within these 3 pillars, maybe some of you have already worked with our research library called SITSI, and cloud computing and infrastructure is one practice within those different expertise that we manage within the company. And the overall architecture of this program is, and you can see that in the middle of the slide, is providing on the one hand quantitative market data, market figures and forecasts in many aspects of the cloud and infrastructure computing market. Then also the qualitative side, so all the insightfulness of the analysts we have and all the opinions that we provide in off-the-shelf reports on that platform. And on the other hand, also for assessing the ecosystem, competition, and potential partners is the vendor section of this program. So we provide vendor rankings where you can see a lot about your own positioning. We also provide vendor profiles where we describe strategies and where we bring our opinion to the table, how we see the vendor community evolving. So it's more or less hundreds of documents every year that we publish, and this is a busy slide, so I will not go and I will not guide you through the details, but it should basically illustrate a bit how we architect this program. And the first message I would like to bring, on the one hand, and on the right side of this slide, you can see we try to show what's in for you as a vendor in the cloud and infrastructure markets on a multi-local level. So you can get access to tons of data across all these geographies that you can see on the right side, and in all these segments that we have in our segmentation on the left side. And if you just imagine all the crossings and all the dimensions that come out of this exercise, you can imagine how strong the program is in terms of helping you in your business planning, in your understanding of the opportunity by geo, by different segments that is in the cloud market. And the same for the qualitative side. So I was already mentioning the 4 dimensions. Here you can see a quick overview about all the qualitative reports that we have in the program, and also the rankings and the vendor reports that we segment by some of the typical cloud typologies that we use, as you all know, infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and also the lens on the cloud-related consulting and system integration market, which is especially important for all the consultants and integrators that we have in the call today. So not only the hyperscaler business, but also what's in for you for all the integration businesses and efforts that has to be done with your clients. So this is pretty comprehensive, and it's an ongoing program. So it's a subscription-based business that we sell to the market, and you as an enterprise can access that to make the best out of it. Second pillar that I was describing in the summary is our bespoke services, and I don't want to guide you through all these descriptions here, but we have designed a dedicated framework where we think we have something to say and we can bring value, and we called it the 7 levers to growth. So the 7 stages that you can see here, they are all related to your growth challenges or your growth missions. And based on this 7 challenges and options, we have also, let's say, designed our services and our bespoke project business around. And as you can see, the 7 stages are as follows. So first of all, besides this subscription-based business that you have seen, we do a lot of work when it comes to more specific questions, especially regarding your individual situation in the marketplace of cloud and infra. So questions around where should I invest? Where should I do my investment planning in terms of market expansion, market extension in the future? So it's a one-on-one project, and we discuss your requirements very detailed to provide a very detailed solution to those type of questions. Second stage here, improve perception or talk with us about how you are perceived in the market, because we all talk about profiling, we all talk about brand awareness and how to make the difference. So why should someone buy from you? And these questions are all related in that section where we can, where we think we can bring some value by discussing your individual perception in the market, talking to your clients, but also talking to yourself as a company, and then making some assumptions and recommendations out of that for how to improve your perception in the marketplace. Optimized portfolio is work we do a lot when it comes to the, let's say, the current portfolio and how a future portfolio should look like. So I was talking to the team, and we have several references gained this year where we did projects on exactly helping you in defining the future portfolio in cloud and infrastructure, because as we all know, in a sense, it's disruptive and it's changing how you go to market, and also besides the hyperscaler business, especially in the services ecosystem, it's changing a lot how to do business with your clients. So there are a lot of questions that we address. Fourth section is more operational. So we also want to help you increasing the awareness. It's pretty much linked with the third pillar I will talk about in a minute, how we can help you as an influencer, and how we can, let's say, spread the word, position yourself as a thought leader into the marketplace, and also using your capability in our supplier positioning products. So this is a bit, this is something we will talk in a minute a bit more in detail, also what we plan in terms of the program next year. And the fifth pillar is all around sales enablement. So how can we also work with your sales force to make a better job out in the field? So are they educated in the right manner? Is there something you want to learn about your clients and accounts and prospects? Is there something you want to learn about your competition to be better prepared? So this is also bespoke work we do. And last not least, ecosystem assessments, discussing about what is the future partner ecosystem looking like, is some project business we do, and also helping the market on the sell and buy side when it comes to M&A mandates is something that we do based on our huge network of companies that we follow and that we know in the market. So by saying that, that is just again the overview about the different offers, the consulting offers that we have. By saying that, let me move on and highlight also our concrete topics we want to address next year in our third section when it comes to raising your profile and using us or working with us as an influencer. And there are three dimensions in that section. So first of all, maybe some of you already know one of our product suites that it's called the Radar. And Radar is our supplier positioning tool where we assess you in manifold dimensions and where we position yourself based on this graph on the right side, based on a lot of criteria that we assess. I think it's more than 50 to make a very valid positioning afterwards, which is heavily used in your own sales efforts or in our end user work with your clients to help them to source the best option in the market. So I think that is a very important tool for you. And here you can see the concrete agenda for 18. So what kind of Radar products do we plan? So first of all, in Q2, there is one on European level planned on workspace management and transformation. Second, in Q3, there is one plan on the specialities on cloud consulting and system integration business and the vendor community in that regard, also on European level. And then in Q4, we plan a Radar project on local cloud providers in the European context. So what does local mean here? We want to put our lens more or less on the European community of vendors, also in the context of the global vendors, but more, let's say, the mid-market and the tier 2 players besides the very large hyperscalers that we see and that we follow all day long. And last not least, on top of this slide, you can see this still has to be confirmed. We also plan a very huge cloud survey, especially with European clients, where we also want to give you the chance to participate and to position yourself as a thought leader. So that is the first section in terms of our influencer business. The second option in that section is the so-called multi-client studies. So multi-client studies, in a nutshell, they are sponsored by you, by the vendor community. We decide on a specific topic. Here's the list for next year. And then we do a primary research, we do an analysis part, and you can be part of such a project as a sponsor to participate in the outbound communication afterwards and in the positioning that comes along with such a piece of work. So the topics here, as you can see, I will not read it. You can consume it by yourself. I think very interesting topics on a European basis. So especially when you want to increase your positioning or to stabilize your positioning in the European geography, I think that is a very nice vehicle for you and your marketing teams to invest. So have a look and make your own thoughts. What type of topics here are of most interest for last year. We try to set up the publication schedule as solid as possible here on the left side with a nice agenda during the quarters to come next year. And last not least, besides the multi-client stuff and the radar stuff, and that is the bridge now to the bespoke services I was mentioning during the explanations on the 7 levers to growth, which is a key element of our own go-to-market. For sure, we also are open for discussions on how we can collaborate together in the so-called single client mode. So it's not mandatory to share these type of business in this multi-client mode. We also can work with you in an exclusive manner. And outputs, I think you know that it's typical analyst formats that we use, like white papers, graphics, interactive storytelling with infographics that are also web-based, speaker engagements to talk about the analysis with your clients, all these different formats that our sales representatives can explain you further when you are interested in that. For sure, there is also our own work to publish and to distribute all these positioning and influencer work. So we are using our own position in the market to talk about that. We have a huge community, as you can imagine, of end users, where we can also position all these type of contents and work we do. So I hope that this was giving you a good overview about the different projects we plan in cloud and infrastructure. And I now like to hand over again to Sarah, who will start the Q&A session.
Thank you, Stefan and Matthew. So we now have some time to answer your questions. The first question we have for Matthew and Stephen is, can you give some concrete examples on your vendor advisory services?
So Stefan, you want me to take it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's say there is a lot. In fact, I think you just ask and we tell you if we can do it or if we cannot do it. But I will speak about mission we have seen more lately. There is a lot of stuff about my go-to-market to the cloud, especially how I position myself in front of the hyperscalers, how I change my business model. Does I get more and more intellectual property? Why in the value chain? What I have to do to be more innovative? Because we know that with some of the capacity that are coming from the cloud, you have to move up the ladder. So there are a lot of missions that are strategic positioning for offers. There's stuff that could be global positioning. So that's a very strategic approach we have on cloud. We have some other part that are related, but it is the how I adapt my global strategy to the local specifics. And we have this especially in Europe, as some of you know, when you take the high-speed train in Europe, that you go from Paris to London, Amsterdam, or Cologne, the market is totally different in respect to the IT, and it's not only the language that is changing. So there we have helped a lot of company to adapt the message they want to put on the market, the type of offers they want to do, and something that is very important, the channels. because cloud has not killed the channel. In fact, cloud computing has revitalized the channel. So the channel strategy is once again very important, and we had a lot of mission there. And as you can understand from this type of mission, and I just take some telltale example, but we have a lot of mission. As you can see on all the 7 steps Stefan has shown, we developed this on all the 7 steps, and we have done, and that's a big tendency lately, the last of the steps, merger and acquisition. This is also something we do with our client, because you, as IT providers, you are also doing your digital transformation. And as your client, you have a time to market issue. And you can do it organically, but often you need to get more speed. And this you can acquire it with external growth. It's often the case also about the resources. We speak that the resources were an issue. So yeah, that's in very short mission that we have done with vendors. We also have done mission with vendors to be. That's an interesting point. We have helped companies that are not IT companies; they are your clients, but they want to become your competitors. So we have done also this type of mission. But you know, I can spend, and Stefan also, hours to tell you the number of consulting mission. If you have a need, just tell us. There is some needs we cannot help you. We will tell you right away. We prefer that you are happy with your consulting mission than to do a mission we will not do well.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Matthew. So the next question I have for you is, who are the new competitors in the infrastructure and cloud-related markets? Okay,
so yeah, that's I will take it also, Stefan. In fact, this question is quite related to what I just say. As I speak about the value chain, I will take an example I just speak about. If you take a company like Bosch, it's a German company, I think 60 or 70 billion euro worldwide. You know, they are very known about, if we take one of their more interesting product is injection and exhaust system for a lot of cars across the world. They have been able to be competitive, to be innovative, because they have been able to put IT and intelligence inside those OT systems. So they have been able to manage the flux, the gas flux inside the car, and to manage the injection and the exhaust all together. That's how they have been able to lower consumption, to have a car that are still speeding, but consume less, and so on. But this is IT. The added value there is made by the IT, that the IT will make a lot of the difference. So then Bosch has this question, does I become an IT provider? And a few years ago, they say, yes, I have to be an IT provider. So they have a subsidiary called Bosch Innovation. And those guys, I don't have the exact figure, but I'm guessing. But we have the exact figure, of course, but I don't have it in my head. Those guys, they are doing half of $1 billion euro in IT, which is quite big. If you take also a huge company like Schneider Electric in France, they declare they make 1 billion. I don't get the revenue from General Electric, but they declare several billions. If you take the military contractors, they are going fast in the IT because you are going in their market, as I said before. So they want to go in your market. So those guys, they are coming, and especially with the security side aspect, you know, as military guys, they are a bit more security friendly than others. So those guys are also getting in your market. Other company that we are saying, so some of your clients will be your competitor, but you know this already. In the IT, you are competing with your partner, so it's a bit the same, but sometimes it could be a bit difficult. But those guys, they will become with the digital transformation, they will become your competitors because they want to make a platform. So that's one point. We are seeing also since a few years, also with the digital transformation, companies such as the advertising giants like VPP or Publicis, with merger and acquisition and huge ones, they are getting more and more IT company. Here, you still have a very good advantage, is that you have undergoing a lot of industrialization, and as a IT company, you master more than them the infrastructure layer, which is critical today for the digital transformation. So those guys are coming, and they will soon be interesting competitor, let's say. And of course, the other usual suspect, the big four, who have been trying this every decade. They try to become very big in the IT with some success and some failure. So I mean, you know, price and so on. They are back again in the bandwagon to be competitors. And third, it's let's say IT company, but coming from the other side of the world. We are saying we have seen this, of course, with Indians, but we are seeing now more and more Chinese company, managed service providers such as AliCloud. They are coming. Huawei, they are coming. So the Chinese, we are seeing them. We are seeing more and more also company from the nearshore location. And in the US, we are seeing more and more a company from LATAM going in the US with the expanding Spanish-speaking population. So yes, there is new competition, but you know that's very interesting, and that will foster innovation.
Okay, thank you for that, Matthew. So I have one last question before we have to finish. So by cloudifying and automating IT systems more and more, are we not, as IT service companies, digging our own grave?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. It appears that we have done this exercise for the. We have done a document on this where we take since the creation of PSC, so 76 or 77, I don't remember. We make the data, the trends until now. And what happened is that each time there is a new technology revolution, and everybody say, oh, IT service company or software company or whatever are dead. Everything will all change because that's a panacea, that's what we need, and so on. And it happened, and that's what is beautiful in the IT, that it doesn't happen. Players are changing, players are mutating, but we still need IT service, we still need a lot of IP in the software, because each time we go up the ladder, we solve problems that should be automated and so on, and we go up the ladder. And in fact, that's where we see that the IT is like manufacturing, is an automated industry. And as we have done with cars, that in the 20s were done by hand as a craftsmanship, and then they were automated by Ford, and then we get Toyota with Kanban and so on. We see the same with the IT. We automate, we robotize, and each time the industry survive and change and get even better. We have less and less resources, so we have to automate. So I don't think that the cloud is digging the grave of the IT service of the software company. I think, in fact, it's opening a new opportunity if you are able to change. And not long time ago, we speak about the 100 year of Darwin theory and so on. So yes, Darwinism. You have to adapt or to die. And this cloud computing is offer a lot of opportunity to you if you're able to seize. And as I see the figure we have in our research, all that we are predicting, there will still be a lot of service and software, and yeah, it's not the end of the IT industry. In fact, digital transformation is a blessing for the IT industry, because you are not anymore working close to, you are not hidden anymore. Now you are shining, and you are the one who are making the digital transformation happen. So it's not about digging a tomb. It's more about going to the heavens. So it's very good. Yeah. In my sense.
All right, so thank you, Mathieu, thank you, Sarah, and thank you especially a lot for your attention today. We will send you the slides with a little follow-up after the webinar today. So I wish you all the best and a successful Q4, and talk to you soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, bye-bye.